Hi, my name is Wes, and we're back live here at Edge of Insanity Studios with Paul and some guests. My name is Wes. I'm here with Reggie and Jessica, and we're going to talk about a number of different topics. We're going to start off by talking about edibles. Edibles. I think that most people I've ever met that have never done an edible before, 50% of them will never do an edible again. And I think that's horrible that there is no education as far as eating this substance, which is so completely different than smoking this substance. In my opinion, it is so much stronger and so much more. Uh, uh, if 50% of the people that use an edible the first time never do an edible again, I think they might have eaten too much.
Oh yeah, working down and not up.
Yeah. This is a serious drug, in my opinion, when it is taken orally.
Oh, how about like all the I use when I'm at my most needed to like get out of where I'm at, Like that's when I do large amounts of edibles or I know what I'm doing all day and it's heavy work. It
Yeah.
works amazing for that.
You do that also.
Oh yeah, but like people who just take what's given and have no idea, like the classic Emerald Cup popcorn. Like who
So
knows what
explain
was in
that.
it?
We,
It's
you
just
know,
random dosing where you have no idea. It gets back to your stash. If you have a butter who know if it was unknown at first, it quickly becomes known how much does what much.
yes, too
But the
much is too
unknowns is
much.
like, yeah, it's always two.
And for first time users, I just want to tell anybody you can walk or crawl before you walk. I would tell anybody to start off very slow. The worst thing could happen is you don't get an effect. But if you get too much of an effect, you will never take this substance again.
Oh yeah, tell them try not to feel it the first time.
Yes.
So,
Take
so my advice is the same thing that I say to anybody that's ingesting psychedelics.
amen.
Start off small. You can always add to the trip. You can never take away from the trip. And so, small, incremental, and don't think, hey, it's been 10 or 15 minutes. It hasn't hit me.
Yeah.
Let's just double it and do it again.
It isn't like that. It shouldn't be
No.
used like that. And I feel sorry because it has a lot of different therapeutic effects. Reggie just mentioned, is his use might be, hey, I need to sleep better, or I got too much going on, or I need to shut down my monkey brain, or I really have a lot to do tomorrow. And you could take enough THC and you're
Well,
going
or
down.
through the day, I really think it gets in the way of the brain pulling the alarm from the amount of physical work I do. So I can do all the work, get so much done, and not even feel it.
Well, I'm an addict the same way, but I do that through smoking, and as long as I'm smoking, I can work 18 hours a day. I don't know too many human beings that work 18 hours a day physically like we do a lot of times.
My
It-
granny always told me I had to keep smoking because it was the only time I rested on those 18-hour days. 6 of it was spent smoking.
and somebody got to sleep sometimes, right? So yeah, so edibles. Tell me your opinion on edibles and what you would warn people as far as your edible experience and people you know.
I've had a lot of edible experience, especially with first timers.
You make great edibles, by the way.
Thanks. So, low and
Tell
slow.
them who you are. Tell them what your products are.
Oh, nowadays it's just that's the head stash, the
There you
personal
go.
stash.
Cool.
So, with cannabis edibles, I prefer a 1-to-1 ratio CBD to THC, and I like 5 milligram and 2.5 of each cannabinoid, and I like to split that in half.
That
Sounds
makes
great.
really good sense. So you're telling people you can start off very slow, and if you want to add on, you've made it in small enough increments that they can add on very slowly.
It's like drinking a pint of vodka for your first time.
Yeah, that's the way.
Right.
That is exactly it. It's like getting slammed I explain it like a turtle on its back, sitting there saying, I promise I will never do this again.
It can be terrifying.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, people don't understand that, like, you're tripping,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
you're
hearing
hallucinating, you're on some other, it's not anything like smoking. You
So
can-
I've done like cannabis infused dinners.
yeah.
Like I went to a great one, sat next to Frenchie cannoli. It was like a highlight of my life.
Ah,
And
ah.
and so with these dinners, I may be sitting next to someone whose tolerance is 1,000 milligrams.
Yes.
And that's normal because they're heavy consumer, they're chronic pain. There's all these justifications. I'm in the 5 milligram. So
Yeah.
I would take an herb called calamus and calamus tincture. It will block your THC receptors so that I don't get overdosed,
Wow.
so that I can still function. So
Yeah.
the low and slow method's important to me, and I really appreciate it. And there's nights where I haven't had restful sleep for several days, and I really want to focus and like help put my body's circadian rhythm back on track, and take a small edible an hour to 2 hours before going to bed so that it has time to metabolize, because I don't like the feeling of waking up to it.
Groggy also. So you bring up a lot of great points. First off, that your body type processes this material completely different than other people's,
Mhm.
because most people would be much heavier on the dosages and be able to handle it. But for your particular system, this is a lot.
And you build the tolerance very quickly based on frequency, your body chemistry, frequency of use, your hydration level. I have low blood pressure, so to me cannabis lowers my blood pressure even more, to where it's very, very sedating and I have to be in a very safe space. So everybody has their nuances.
I like the point that you brought up just one point ago. The first time that somebody would use cannabis versus the second time, with the half-life that comes in from the usage, it is really a journey. Like, the first time there's a lot, the second time it's half, the third time it's a quarter. And so that's why a lot of chronic people, they'll smoke a lot and not have the same effect that a first time user would have. Same thing with the edibles. But your experience is to very lightly start, see how it goes. Like I said, if 50% of the people that take an edible never take it again, they're obviously doing something wrong.
Not too much. That's why tinctures are nice. Shaken, appropriate use of a tincture, and just drops until you finally feel something or get relief.
That's an interesting topic. You're bringing up the medicinal side of this. Why don't we
It's all
move?
medicinal to me.
Well, you bring up a great point. To me, it is medicine, and I've never seen anything that has both psychological and physical advantages that this plant offers to people. And we're not going to get into the sports aspects, a lot of the other aspects of what this really boosts for the human being. The endocannabinoid system is something that has been studied for 20 years, and they still don't teach it in med school to doctors, and yet it's a specialty in.
Have they not boxed it up enough yet?
I think they have. I think there's just so much conspiracy around it that
They don't
got
teach
Or-
basic food science in medical
Right.
school,
this
or
is the,
herbal medicine, or how
no
healthy
hydration,
practices impact your well-being.
no nutrition. So again, the people that most people believe in are the doctors that don't even take courses in some of the most basic things.
They're
People-
taught-
I think they're just teaching all that critical vegetable theory in school, and so don't believe any of it. And so
They're taught
What-
how to use drugs.
Well, and there's such an epidemic today, as we're in the Bay Area, and I can say that I'm really impressed that there's not as many people frozen on the street today as I've seen in the last 2
It's
years.
beautiful out there.
So There were people moving on the streets, the blocks that I have observed in the last 2 years being in San Francisco. There's a transition that's going on here in the Tenderloin. Paul, why don't you address that? You've been here for how many years?
Well, okay, I've been sitting where we are now for the last 3.5 years, and things have morphed, changed in a lot of different ways. But what we're seeing today versus what we were even seeing 6, 8 months ago is that a lot of these boarded up buildings are being opened, especially along Market Street. There is new business. There is less of what you're considering a lot less open drug use and congregation of people selling either drugs or
Just
doing drugs or hanging out or just people being under the influence. That has reduced, but that also can go from corner to corner.
Mhm.
Even right now, we're at the corner of 7th and Market, which is right across from UN Plaza in San Francisco. And that was really a year ago before they built it out into a skate park. There was so much lawlessness that not only were we mentioned on shows like Bill Maher, Real Time with Bill Maher on HBO, but every local and national news. For the same kind of things that I was mentioning to outside, people in San Francisco at that time, you could shoplift up to $950 and walk away with a ticket.
And sell it across the street, you said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and sell it across the street, and yeah, they would try to confiscate, but anyway, but most of the time it was just that it was a free reign on the city, and so there was a lot of businesses. We were talking about the department or the little drugstore that was upstairs that was a franchise. 20 of those outlets closed. I think like 30 Starbucks closed. It's like, really? You closed a Starbucks?
Never
What does
seen
that
that
take?
before.
What does that take? And so like Walgreens, CVS, a lot of these places where they had basically it was a help yourself. It was an Amazon market that never charged your card. And so that's what people were doing. And so what are we seeing now? We're seeing it come back, but it's glacier movements.
What I saw today on the street was a lot more movement, a lot
Yeah.
more human movement.
Right.
I've been coming here now for probably 2 years, and I see a massive improvement from where we were at the corner where we parked. I sat right there for 2.5 hours and watched everything from teenagers to grandmothers smoke.
Oh yeah.
I watched 100 lighters a minute light up in this set of blocks. So what I'm seeing is a huge improvement. They're not statue people. We didn't see anybody lighting up. So maybe there is a little bit of improvement here, and that's nice. So we're going to move on to the next topic. Reggie, tell us about some of your trials and some of your new releases.
We made a few crosses of the lines we run. I'll actually send you the file that's the lineup. And it has a brief picture, a small picture of it, the cannabinoid profiles and terpenes and stuff. But we've been using these as foundation lines for crossing into the different things that we work with. So this year we planted a lot that we selected or made last year. And so that's what we're going to be releasing now. And some of the highlights we've been working with what we call the 38, a key lime blueberry muffin. And it grows short, but not too short, holds itself up really good, makes nice hard flowers any time of year.
Key lime blueberry muffin, mother, father,
So the key lime is a
generational?
clone only, and we bred it in 2018 with a blueberry muffin male. And I have notes on that too. And so we grew out a bunch of seedlings, picked this one that we liked
Does
the
she
most.
have the same characteristics as the blueberry, like with the little spots in it?
No.
The blueberry muffin was such an amazing plant to me. I don't think I'd ever seen one at that point in time that had such bright little blueberries.
Out of the 10 females we saw that year, one was purple, and there was quite a variation on the others. There
All
was
the
a
rest.
good rainbow of different things and forms, even from chunky to less chunky to leafy to less leafy.
Which would be back to your like sisters of it, or
Those were
just
all the
different
sisters right there. So
expressions?
we took a male out of that population, put it with a key lime pie clone only. In the same year, we grew Skittles, and they were very similar, but the key lime had a lot more advantageous traits down the line because we bred both of them with the same male. So we called it 38. It was the 38th seed envelope we opened up at Canna Country Farm out of the seeds we bred in 2018. And she's a workhorse. She makes nice hard pieces, great flavor, has the most numerous different cannabinoids in a way, and the most variation. Nothing like out of the crazy
High
numbers,
range.
but it's like a nice diversity and expression.
You just mentioned something great. Diversity. Give me an idea of which cannabinoids are in that.
CBC, CBG, no CBD, but THC, CBG, and CBC.
Isn't that interesting? These are used to be very minor cannabinoids in most of the times.
Well,
in
they're
the
still
plants that
very
we've
minor
done.
in this.
In this though, but they're in there, and
Yep.
it's one plant that grows that. I think in my experience, the future will be breeding plants with larger amounts of those. We had one a number of years ago. It had 7 CBG, 7 CBD, and 7 THC.
Yeah.
It was a 7, 7, and 7.
Yeah.
I think in the future, and for you, you've always mentioned to me one-to-ones.
Yeah, well, I think it's a really fun area for people in general, like these new emerging markets. When I go do dispensary, Soulful Dispensary really represents the sun growing all the way, and they're actually one of the main people to get the 26 out to the people. And I've learned a lot by standing in their dispensary and meeting the people coming in. And a lot of the people are coming in because it's okay to now. And they never had a relationship with the plant or the smoke or the culture or anything, but they know that the side effects are minimal. They know it's not a very dangerous thing. And so it's pretty cool to see how they relate, to this plant. And so I think one-to-ones are that like low risk of adverse event herb, and it's like subtle. I prefer them when I come off of a fast because I can really feel it more, and or I like I say modulate the THC high when I'm loving the THC.
I think that's a really interesting thing. People have gone to doing dabs, which get way up high in the THC. For me, that's not where I use an enormous amount of THC, but I like the diversity. I
Yeah.
like the as Ethan would say, the entourage effect of the different plants. You're staying in a fairly specific line with a lot of your things, aren't you?
Saying what?
A specific line, like you're staying in. You've got a group that's come from Hawaii,
Uh-huh.
and you've got another group that you bred with, but you're staying in a fairly tight group.
No, I wouldn't say so. Like maybe what you've seen, but if you come over, I'll show you 400 different samples of.
Okay.
So
But
like
these are the ones that you're putting out there to the world.
we're putting out a limited amount, and we're even limiting the amount that we're putting out like that for the world. We've bred with the lineup that we have in clone form from selections we've made. We're testing the offspring, and then we're getting some of those seeds out, but we're going to actually go down the line and get the progeny out. Selections that we've made from these, say, pinene dominant, higher THC with a lower THC osamine dominant, one that's purple and one that's green. We're putting diverse traits together and letting people explore what we explore. But like I say, we're going to narrow the gene pool down the line and just release the new releases.
I think that's excellent. The world, if I heard that, I'd want to grow that. I would want to, to me, somebody that, like I said, these big seed companies, there's a lot of seed companies out there, and there's seed companies that are spending upwards of $1 million a year on advertising. To be able to compete with those, we really can as a small seed company or a small business. So, supporting companies like Canna Country is really important. If we don't get the support from the people, then it's very difficult for us to continue to grow. And
Yeah.
your business has grown fairly well over the last few years. And
I wouldn't say so, but like we're still working on how to get there and make it a business because we haven't quite made it a business yet.
but in knowledge,
That
uh,
is always growing. I've had 30 years of knowledge, I'll say,
right,
and it's
and
it's increasing, but it's really a practice too, you know.
the money side in all businesses is probably timing and a number of other things. But you're at a point in time in this industry where there's not a lot of people like you. I
But there's a lot of noise.
there is a tremendous amount of noise, and there's more seed companies, and there'll be more seed companies opening up, and there'll be people selling other seeds. And we'll go back to you, Jessica, as the farms that you represent in seed production, people that really are in this industry, not somebody in, and I'm not, maybe there's some great seed we can buy from Colombia. I will go. I'll be going there next year. I'll be hanging out. I'll be seeing the seed that they produce. But what I'm told is an enormous amount of seed is coming from Colombia, coming back into this country and being sold through all the distribution networks.
I believe it.
Uh,
It's
it-
cheaper to make seed production down there.
yeah,
And it is in the art that'll test their metal too in such a moist environment. You know, it's like they got to have the right techniques to dry them down and cure them down and preserve them properly. I
well,
had
that's
good germination with some Colombian seeds this year.
How
was-
is their environment? Because
well, don't they have every kind of
Yeah, they
like
do.
they
It's
got it all?
amazing.
I think
so
you
they have
mentioned
a
that.
microclimate
Everything.
environment.
They
Every
have many,
A
yes.
to Z.
All it's
They got
going to
it
be a
all.
great production center.
Up the mountain and down the valley, and yeah, there's a lot to Colombia.
An agriculture rich history.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I have a lot of people that have gone there. I sent seed over to Colombia. I don't know how many years ago. You remember, like there was a deadline cut off.
Yeah,
if
the
you didn't
ink get
get
cut
the
off.
seed over there, and man, I
Did
don't
you
even
hear
remember
anything
what I
back?
said, but if never got anything
Zero.
for
I
any of
know.
it, zero.
You better hurry though.
Yeah, I better if I didn't get it in that day, I wouldn't get it because there was a deadline. All my seeds went to Colombia and we got zilch.
Yep.
But again, isn't that an interesting part of it? I really love the topics today. How about let's talk next about the future of cannabis? And right now, in both seed production and use, we see a rise. We see new states coming on. We see regulation varying in many a state. But where do you see the future of cannabis right now?
Appellations, like different geographic locations,
Tours.
maybe with. Oh yeah, you got to get a tour license. You could definitely do tours, for sure. But just like having a certification for where it's from, and there might be genetics that are very particular to a certain place.
So
but-
what you're saying is a little bit not, I hate to say regulation,
Yep.
but a little bit more specifics as to where and what.
Yep.
Well,
And more and more things developed for specific use and place. So like
Did-
we're gonna see a huge amount of new breeds and all sorts of stuff. It's amazing. This plant's getting freed up. Seeds are so easy to move around. Clones are easy enough to move around. Pollen gets itself around, and the females lay in wait.
yeah, I'm excited to work with more pollens this year and understand a little bit more. Jessica, where do you see the future of cannabis right now?
I'm really working on better describing how to get the right strain to the person who wants it. And how do we create more of a collective? Growers are very individualized and we've been, tucked away to ourselves. How do we expand to work in more of a shared system to make the whole economy actually like flourish? Win-win-win situations. So strategic partnerships, I think, are happening more and more. It's important for people to identify themselves with the genetics that like having something special to them, and also I don't know. Help me out.
It'll be something genetic and herb, you know, it'll be maybe tailor made to your blood type, to your whatever it is.
That's
well, like
what
you were just saying, almost like a litmus test or
Yeah.
like a diabetes test to find out where you are. Because even me, I think I found out only like 20 years ago that even though I really like sativa, it's kind of like I really like coffee. It's just some stimulants don't work well with Polly. Polly's already got a brain that goes a
a
million
million
miles
miles an hour.